Paul reserve game earlier in the week. Have you had a chance to review that?
Yeah, I have, yeah. Um, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I think the least said about that, the better. We organise these games to get players up to match speed, to get into good habits, and I think it's fair to say there was no good habits. So that was a real disappointment to me. I watched the game back, um, and we've gone through it. Gavin's gone through it with them this afternoon because what was produced on that performance was totally unacceptable. Lack of energy, lack of running, lack of footballing ability. Um, you name it, whatever level you play at, what that group of players produced at Middlesbrough wasn't acceptable. And we've told them that today. Now they're very lucky that we haven't got anybody else, and five of those lads will be involved in the 18 on Saturday against Derby County. But they ain't involved because they deserve to be. They're involved because there's no other options, and that's me being brutally honest. What they produced at Middlesbrough was totally unacceptable in my opinion.
Still good to get that minutes in the legs, though. That's why you organise these games.
Um, well, was it good? I don't know. Um, they're only good, and if you put the work in, you get something in your legs. If you don't put the work in, you don't get it in your legs. And we had a whole group of players. Not one single one of them produced 90% of their max speed, which is what we judge a sprint on. So it's probably it was probably a waste of time, probably a waste of journey because they didn't get there in the legs. We want players who are prepared to do high intensity running, who are prepared to sprint, and when they've done that, be able to keep the football. And that didn't happen. So anybody who's seen anything from it, I sat and watched it back because obviously I didn't go. I was here working with the group who were left here. Um, it was really. I've talked too much already about it because for me, those players wasted that opportunity to play, and there is not one single player. Alfie McCalmont showed a bit of energy, showed a bit of life about him. There is not one single player can come knocking on my door and demand to know why they're playing because they didn't do enough in that game. Now they've got another opportunity on Tuesday night, the ones who are selected in that game against Carlisle City. And if they don't do it properly in that one, they'll get turned over again.
Does that help with the rest of the week in terms of the group to say, right, we want the energy, let's train towards what's a big game?
Um, to be honest with you, the group that were left here have trained really, really well. I made a point of not speaking to the players from the Middlesbrough game today about it because it's about the preparation going into the game against Derby County. It was more about getting the final messages across to them, confirming what the team's going to be to start with, getting final messages across about how we're going to go about the game, um, and that's what today was about. Once this game's out of the way, we'll pick up with the group who'll go on Tuesday. But the training with the group who are going to be involved in the game on Saturday has been really good. The mindset's right, the energy levels are good, and we've got to try and continue with the little bit of momentum that we've picked up over the last few weeks.
We know about JJ, he's edging towards his operation date. We know about Ben, he's working his rehab. Everybody else okay?
Dylan McGeoch's not trained for a week now. He took a whack on the calf in training not this week gone, the week before. That's why he wasn't involved in the game at Middlesbrough. So he's just joined in on the grass today, not with the rest of the group, but done some work. There's a possibility he's going to join in training on Saturday morning with the group. Who'll do some work, and we'll see where he's at for next week. Apart from that, we've got everybody else fit.
It's got to be frustrating for Dylan. He's not been able to get himself going, has he?
No, he hasn't. No, he's not got himself fit yet. Fit enough to be able to affect games. He's had 2 starts. Came off at Harrogate at half time with a tightness in his hamstring. Got a couple of whacks in the game at Accrington and had to come off after whatever it was, 55-60 minutes. And then he got a whack in training. So no, it's been a real stop-start for him. Frustrating for him, very frustrating for us. That's the nature of football, and we've just got to get on with it.
I suppose this is where Jake steps in and starts to look at all of the stats that you're getting for all of the players to help you with getting them all to where you want them to be.
Well, it's where all the staff come into it. You know, Chris comes into it in terms of the medical department, Jeff with the rehab work, Jamie's still involved in that as well. So it's a case of everybody putting all of what we see with our eyes together with all the physical data, together with what the players are telling us, and we are at a point where I keep saying it, we've done okay. We've done okay so far, but I want to do better than okay. I'm not satisfied with okay. I'm not satisfied that we haven't got players on the outside of the starting 11 who are really pushing, and we need to get that. And for me, that's a mentality thing. That's not a physical thing. That's mentality, and that mentality has to step up, because if it doesn't, then over time we'll change it. We'll change the personnel, because I don't want to be part of a group of players that are happy to just be not involved. We have to have a real demand on everybody, and we can only do so much. The old saying, you can take a horse to water. It has to come from within, and I'm really disappointed, and I'm sorry that when we're looking forward to a brilliant game against Derby County, I'm having to talk about negative things like this.
I was just about to say there's a theme to this opening 2 or 3 minutes. It's about standards, isn't it? You're demanding them.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. But again, listen. In the olden days, which was my time, the standards, if you didn't do them, you got severely punished. You got run to death. You were ran until you were sick. You can't do it now. These days have changed. Players don't respond to that. The days of dealing with it all with a stick have gone, and these standards have to come from within. And everybody wants to be a professional footballer. You have to do the things to earn the right to be a professional footballer. You have to do the things to earn the right to stay being a professional footballer. Because yes, at the moment they have a contract. If you don't keep doing the right things, if you don't have the right standards, if you don't demand the right things, if you're not professional enough, you'll fall by the wayside. I have this thing that you will find your level, or your level will find you. So if you're too good for this level, you'll go. If you're not good enough for this level, you'll keep dropping down. And if those standards are not right, people are going to be in for a big shock. And I think this is a good place to be. Yes, there's better places to be than Carlisle United. I also accept that. I'm not deluded to think this is the mecca of football. But if players don't show the right desire, the right mentality, apply themselves in the right way, then we'll have to do something about it.
You mentioned a couple of weeks ago you might be looking for another coach, another strength and conditioning coach as well, to help with all of this. Where are you at with that?
Well, forget about the other coach. That's a long-term plan. That's something, as in a football coach. That's long-term. In terms of the S&C coach, the first stage of interviews have gone on, and some really positive candidates. We'll take it to the second stage of interview, where they'll come in and probably do some sort of practical work with us for us to have a look at how they are and try and get a feel for the character. But we've been really pleasantly surprised with the calibre of applicants that we've had, and that hopefully will evolve probably over the next couple of weeks, and maybe we'll be in a position to announce something. But as it stands, that's where we are, and there's nothing more I can add to it, really.
Right, pair of us, we've been somehow negative. 3 games unbeaten, Paul.
Yeah, no, we're on a decent bit of, not just a decent run of results, but I thought last week was probably our best footballing performance as well. I thought some of the things we did were excellent. I thought we showed real good control against the side in Lincoln City, who are a good side. Let's not forget that they came into it on the back of a couple of really strong results, particularly at home. And I thought our level of performance was very good. I thought we showed real good desire. We showed composure on the ball in the right areas. And on another day, we maybe could have got 3 points. So a lot of positives to take into this next one for us. And hopefully we can go and show what we're all about in that one.
We said it last week, it's nice to see when we're on top we're actually taking chances as well at the moment, which is so important.
Yeah, I still think we can be even more clinical, but I suppose every head coach, every manager's saying the same things. We're creating opportunities, we're not quite getting the finish, we're maybe not getting the little bits of luck in terms of refereeing decisions, maybe in terms of little things going our way. But I'm pleased with what I saw from it last week. Even the lads who were coming off the bench, I thought there was a positive influence coming on the game, and I want it to happen again. I want it to keep going. We don't want to just be satisfied going 3 games unbeaten. We need to make sure this weekend we put on a performance that leads to 3 points. That's what we need to do. We need to get that, and that will give everybody even more confidence.
Against a good side, are you surprised that they're mid-table with the squad that they've got?
No, because it's very early. It's still early on in the season. I still think they're finding their feet a little bit. It's probably fair to say they've had injuries and they've lost some players who are sort of key to how they want to play and how the manager wants to play. It's a tough game. It's going to be a tough game for us, but it's a game that I think we should really go and grab hold of by the scruff of the neck. I've highlighted to the players where I think we can cause them problems, and it really is about how we go about it, how we work, how we press, how we deal with the football when we get it, and then how we make those decisions when it comes to the final third and how clinical we can be. And I think if we can do what we did last week and be even more clinical, I think we've got every opportunity to go and win this game.
They've got experience, the likes of Wagon, they've got youth as well. It's a blend that they're still trying to find their way at the moment.
Yeah, well, a club like Derby County, you would expect them to have a blend of experience and youth because they're a fantastic football club, Derby County. You know, I've had experience of it as a player and as an assistant there. So they're a good football club, and if I'm going to be honest, a football club that probably shouldn't be in this league. But they're here for a reason. They're here because of whatever, whether it's, you know, financial difficulties or irregularities, whatever you want to call it. They're here for that reason. They found it tough to get out of the league last year. We've got to make it really tough this weekend. I want to see Derby County do well in the long run, but I certainly don't want it this weekend. I want us to go and show what we're all about in front of a wonderful home support. We've got to make sure that we go and perform and we respect them for what they are, but also not respect them too much. Go and get right in the faces, go and make it a horrible afternoon for them, and hopefully come away with the points.
We're expecting a game of football.
I want it to be. Yeah, I want it to be. I want it to be ugly when they've got the ball because I want us to be physical. I want us to be aggressive. I want us to get right in the faces. But when we've got the ball, I think we need to show some composure. I think we've got players who can play. We've got forward players, we've got midfield players who can get in the box and score. I want our wide players, whether that be fullbacks, wingers, fullbacks, whoever, whichever shape we play, I want them to be positive, and I want it to be a game where we get on top of them in the way that we press and go about it out of possession, but also show good football when we've got the ball.
Does it make a difference, Paul, when it's a club that you've got strong ties with? And I think it's fair to say with Derby County, player and coaching, you had some really good bonds and relationships with staff, players, fans, whatever.
It doesn't make it any difficult for me, no, not at all, not this weekend. There's only one thing in my mind, you know. I've got a lot of people who are coming to the game who are Derby County fans, who are friends of mine. I want to win. It's as simple as that. I want this to be our day, and we've had 3 decent ones, 2 draws on the road, a good victory at home. We need to go and win again, and if we can win again, then those 2 away points will be really, really important. And you know, you can look at Derby County and think they're one of the biggest teams, if not the biggest in the league. We can go level on points with them if we can win, and that's what we need to just be thinking about. Forget about what the football club is. Forget about how many supporters they're going to bring. I know we'll have more than them, and we've got to make sure in terms of the players we've got more than their players on the day.
And we've said it, they've sold out their 1,500 and a little bit more. We're going to have all 4 sides of the ground with Carlisle fans in it. We've seen with the Bradford playoff games, it makes a huge difference.
Well, I think all the games that we've had crowds, you look at the Salford game last season, you look at the Fleetwood game this season, even the Wigan game when they've got good support and we had good support on the night. That second half performance against Wigan was excellent. We've got to use the atmosphere, whoever's creating, whether it's ours or theirs who are creating it, we've got to use it to get a performance. And if we get the performance right, I really do think we've got enough to win this game. The performance will come first. We get that right, and then we'll take whatever comes after it.
Just finally, Paul, do the players see this as a big game because it's Derby County, or are they used to it now?
I think they see it as a great challenge, and what I'll be emphasising on the day. I go back to last weekend when I did my press after the game, and I forget who it was, but somebody said to me, "It's a great occasion to look forward to." Well, no, I don't want it to be an occasion. I want it to be a great game of football that we come out on top. And if we've done that bit right, then we can look back at it as being a good occasion. This isn't an occasion. This is our next game at League One. We've earned the right to be taking part in these games, and I want us to go front foot. I want us to be positive, and I want us to win the game. And then we'll look back with a big smile on our face and say, yeah, it was a good occasion.
All brilliant, thank you.